I want to talk to you and our president, because now they're pushing President Obama to strike Iran. Israel's Vice Prime Minister Moshe Ya'alon voiced disappointment in the Obama administration, saying election year considerations lay behind its caution over tougher Iran sanctions sought by U.S. legislators. The government of the United States has made an agreement with hell and a covenant with death. That's right. You have locked on to the Zionists who control your government, your media, and you're afraid to stand up, because if you do, they'll tell you you won't be reelected. What the hell is an election to your character as a human being? You're afraid of Zionist power.
When the Durban conference was commemorated, we boycotted it, and we will always reject the notion that Zionism is racism.
Some of you, when I criticize Jewish misbehavior, I'm not talking about the good Jews. I'm talking about that synagogue of Satan that John the Revelator was talking about.
Judaism is a religion, a spirituality to serve God, thousands of years old. Zionism is only around 100 years old. It is the transformation from religion to nationalism, to materialism, created by non-religious Jews who hated the religion, and they really didn't want with Judaism. They didn't even want to make their state in Palestine, only in Uganda at the first meetings. The reason they used the name Israel, the Star of David, hijacking, stealing the identity of Judaism and the Jewish people, is in order to get a legitimacy for their existence, that people should say, oh, it's God given to them, and that they should put fear and intimidate people from speaking up against their actions because they'll call them anti-Semitic. Yeah. There couldn't be anything further from the truth. As I say, the best friends of the Jewish people is all the Muslim countries who've helped the Jews all the time when they ran away from their problems in other lands. So how could you say this? It's something totally different. It's a political, selfish, flawed movement called Zionism that has no legitimacy to exist.
Do you know, in all of its modern history, Iran has never attacked another country? I'm going to say it again. I want you to think about what I'm saying. In all of Iran's modern history, it has never attacked another country. But what is your record, America? What is your record, Israel? You want to build up the American public to go to war against that country? I don't care what they say, what Iran say. I say harsh things too. But I've never hurt nobody except with the truth. And if I hurt you with the truth, well, you just be hurt. Israel is armed, they say, with 300 nuclear weapons, but will not sign the non-proliferation agreement. They have a track record of attacking nuclear facilities of other people. The USA has launched over 40 foreign attacks since 1979 and is the only country in history to use nuclear weapons. Lieberman, the senator from Connecticut, He said, with 32 senators with him, they moved the goalpost. It was, if Iran developed a nuclear weapon, we all go after them. Now they changed the language. One word. If Iran develops nuclear capabilities. Iran is already at that stage.
Push a nuclear power plant, which has been in development for a long time. Obviously, as a country, you must be very much looking forward to that coming on stream to give you nuclear power. Do you know when that launch date will be now, the operational date when it feeds the grid?
It will be operational, they say, before the end of the year. There is no problem. Of course, it's part of the relationship between us and Russia, and of course that can be seen by the world community. And the entire international community watches how Russians are building our nuclear power plant.
At some point in the future, you may want to acquire a nuclear deterrent, a nuclear weapon.
The international equations are not determined by nuclear arsenals today. The Americans have nuclear bombs and nuclear weapons, and could they win in Iraq and Afghanistan? Could the nuclear weapons help the Israelis to gain victory in Lebanon and Gaza? Could nuclear weapons help the former Soviet Union from collapse? Nuclear weapons are the weapons of the previous century. Our goal in the country and the goal of our people is peace for all, nuclear energy for all, and nuclear weapons for none.
Some of those countries have been complaining that you're meddling in their internal affairs. Do they have a point?
Who is using military force in Bahrain? Are we doing that? Who is interfering in the internal affairs of the region? Show me one place or one location in the world where Iranian military forces are present. There is no such place. The British forces, American forces, NATO forces, they're around us everywhere. They're surrounding Iran. And those same forces say Iran is interfering in the internal affairs of the region. What could we say to that?
President Obama, I believe you love the American people, but if you bow down to Israel and send American soldiers to die really for Israel, not for you, not for America, anybody in their right mind in the Muslim world would attack America knowing the response?
Here in Washington, D.C., beneath a statue of Albert Pike, author William T. Still explains the contents of this remarkable letter.
This was a letter that was written by the head of European Masonry, a man by the name of Mazzini, who wrote it to Albert Pike about 1871. It was in the British Museum for a number of years on display, so we know it existed. It's now disappeared, incidentally. The subject of the letter was to try to figure out a way to finally get humankind to give up their cherished concept of nationalism and finally give in to the New World Order internationalist construct. The letter called for a series of 3 world wars. The Third World War would be between the Jews and the Muslims and would bring about the Battle of Armageddon and would finally make mankind so sick of warfare that they'd give up their cherished concept of nationalism and give in to the New World Order concept.
So you're going to let them now lead you into war with Iran that will begin to trigger a wider and wider war? The war of Armageddon? Help yourself.